everybody, my name is Ikson, otherwise known as the Dramatic Otaku, and welcome to Class 3A. Today we are going to be going through my list of helpful hints for new cosplayers and people who are questioning whether they want to start cosplaying or who are interested in starting to cosplay. I myself define myself as an intermediate cosplayer. I'm still working on how to upgrade my cosplay, but I have been cosplaying for roughly 4 years at this point. I've been cosplaying since 2016. I had a pretty lengthy break between 2016 and 2020 when I started re-cosplaying again, and over the last 3 years I have gotten significantly better at what I do, and I'm still looking to learn. But if you're looking to begin cosplaying and define yourself as a cosplayer, these are my helpful hints for you. These are for people who are looking to buy their cosplay, make their cosplay, or just closet cosplay, as I do all three. There are many types of niches of cosplay, from people who use paper wigs to people who make balloon art costumes. It's insane the lengths people go for cosplay and how unique certain cosplays can be. So you don't need to define yourself in any 3 different categories. You dive into whatever niche you want to. That being said, please don't spend $200 on your first cosplay. Please! I can guarantee you, if you spend $200 on your first cosplay expecting greatness, you will be disappointed. Now, this isn't targeting one subsection of cosplayers. This could be someone who's buying cosplay or people who are sewing cosplay. Do not spend $200 or an insane amount of money on your first cosplay. You will not look extraordinarily professional on your first shot. This is a new skill and a new hobby that you're trying out. It takes time to look the way you want to look. Hell, I don't even look the way that I want to look yet, and I've been doing this for 4 years. You're just starting out as a new cosplayer. You have to start slow and steady. Do not go for a supermassive project that will take up all of your time and keep you from cosplaying any other characters that you may want to cosplay, because projects like this will hold you back if you do not have enough experience or do not have enough practice for this kind of stuff. Because oh my god, I have heard horror stories of people dropping $200+ on a new costume that they've found on a website because it looks cool on the website. Unless you can physically see it in front of you, do not buy it. Oh my god. You don't even know if you like this hobby yet. Do not spend an insane amount of money on a hobby that you are just looking at right now, okay? That is my main advice to you, especially as someone who has done that, who has spent an insane amount of money on not necessarily buying a cosplay, but rather sewing a cosplay. Yes, I'm talking about my Poison Ivy cosplay. If you're new to my channel, which assumedly you are, I started a Poison Ivy cosplay all the way back in 2018. Now, this was for a performance for school. I only made the bodice of the costume, and I've been happy with that bodice ever since. But I really wanted to make it a skirt, a dress, a long gown. I don't know how to make a fucking gown. I know how to make the bodice, I know how to make pants, I don't know how to fucking make a gown. This Ivy stuff here is part of a prop, is a part of a headdress. I had made that back in 2020. I still have not finished that cosplay. It has been nearly 5 years at this point, and I still have not finished my Poison Ivy cosplay. It is always on the top of my list of my cos plans to finish the Poison Ivy cosplay, and I have yet to. Don't spend an insane amount of money on a cosplay that you don't know if you're gonna finish, or if you're not sure about doing cosplay. That is my number 1 kind of rule when getting into cosplay. Do not bite off more than you can chew. Get something cheap. Get something that you can throw together very easily, because you're just starting out, don't rush the process. Now that being said, let's move on to some more helpful hints that you might need as a cosplayer.
All right, people. Let's get started, shall we? Class monitor, if you would do the honors.
Right. Ready?
1. Have a set of costumes or props that you can use for multiple different characters. You don't want to be buying or making a new costume piece for every single character that you cosplay. So something that is good to have is a set of clothes, a set of props, even a small set of accessories that you can use for multiple characters. Especially if you're looking for characters that are, say, maybe schoolgirl characters or high school characters, characters that wear uniforms. Personally, this is the list that I think every new cosplayer should have in their wardrobe. 1. A white long sleeve or short sleeve button-up t-shirt. This could be good for characters who are professionals. School age, good for uniforms. As myself, today I'm cosplaying Nagisa Shota from Assassination Classroom, and he wears a white long button-up with a blue vest. Something else is a sweater vest. Now, I would thrift this as there are many thrift stores that will have sweater vests. And what you don't want a very intricate sweater vest. I've bought myself a sweater vest shirt and it didn't work very well when I used it for my Psyche K cosplay. What you want it to look for is a beige or a grey sweater vest. Many characters, specifically from anime, wear these, especially, again, high school characters and slice of life characters. If you're looking for Psyche K, one of Psyche's placid outfits, he wears a sweater vest. So having a sweater vest, especially if you're going for comedy and slice of life anime, is definitely a sweater vest alongside your button-up t-shirt. Number 3 is having a designated pair of jeans, preferably black jeans or possibly blue jeans, or alternatively, making sure you have multiple skirts of varying colors, being particularly red, dark blue, and black. These are the most common skirt colors you'll see for anime characters, and you'll be able to reuse them. What you probably want is a pleated skirt, and on the front of jeans, be them black or blue jeans. I specifically say black jeans, as black jeans can be swapped out for something like slacks. You may not want to wear slacks or can't find slacks. Having a solid pair of black jeans that aren't skinny jeans, that are just nice jeans that you can wear for cosplay, are definitely a good alternative. My first cosplay, which was Haruhi Fujioka, I wore black jeans instead of slacks, and personally I look really good in that. Next, if you don't already wear glasses because you need glasses, I would suggest having a pair of fake glasses. There are multiple characters that either fit fake glasses and you could use as an AU, or there are multiple characters that you can cosplay that have glasses. It is good to have glasses on hand just in case for this scenario. Next is a prop book. This is something that should definitely be thrifted or be secondhand. Mainly because, as you can see, I buy a lot of fucking books, and I do have hardcover books in here, but I fucking cherish all of my manga and all of the books that I own. So having a prop book, something that you really don't care for, or that is thrifted or that is secondhand, will definitely help you, especially if you are thinking about doing skits or doing like action shots where you're throwing the book or something like that, and it's something that's easy that you don't care if it gets lost, really. Next are more generic clothing items that you probably definitely have at this point. Having shoes of a solid color, that being black or white, and shirts of a solid color, black or white, is honestly, it's a theater essential that I have purposely kept with my cosplaying, or kept up with my cosplaying, and it's actually really helped a lot. If there's a character that I've had that's had like double sleeves, it helps a lot. I've also worn shirts under cosplays, and something else that I personally think could be useful to have as a part of your repertoire of cosplays, depending on what kind of cosplayer you are, is some gimmick clothes. This being the maid outfit, this being the bunny girl cosplay, this being the cat ears, that sort of stuff. If you want to make shit posts and stuff like that, having this kind of cosplay can actually be very helpful. I've used my maid costume a couple of different times for Misaki from Maid Summer, as well as for a maid OC, and just for fun I bought it as a shit post kind of thing, and I've used it quite a few times. So having these gimmicky kind of items that you can use for multiple different series is definitely helpful. It's not necessary, but if you want to make a shit post, it's definitely very helpful. And the point of having these sort of things in your wardrobe of cosplay items is definitely helpful, as you can interchange them between characters. I've used multiple of these items for multiple different characters, from Hanji Zoe to Osana Najimi.
Tip number 2.
Having to do with my own cosplay for this video, just a quick insert tip: don't let cosplay harm you. Obviously, when you're going to a convention, some things like wearing certain shoes can hurt you. Always have a backup pair of shoes, but put your safety before your cosplay. I stupidly put this vest on thinking it still fit me. It doesn't. It's actually quite restricting if I don't unbutton the thing. But that's just an example of don't put cosplay before your safety. And number 3, buying a wig. Now this is in 2 parts. So first of all, when buying a wig, make sure it isn't a specific character wig. This is when going onto cosplay websites, even going onto sites like AliExpress or Amazon. Make sure you are buying a generic wig and not a character specific wig. Only go for cosplay wigs if your character has a very specific dye style of hair. Think Mitsuri from Demon Slayer or Rengoku from Demon Slayer. I'm saying this as many cosplay websites capitalize on the fact that you're searching for cosplay wigs for your certain character. Always go for a generic cosplay wig over a character specific one, and this can be difficult for certain characters, but sneakily enough, certain cosplay sites such as Easy Cosplay tend to have the character specific wig and then a generic wig that's very similar. Always go for the generic wig that is very similar. And I say specifically the Demon Slayer stuff because split dye wigs, such as ones for Todoroki or Monokuma from Danganronpa, those are exceedingly more common now, so there should be more generic split dye wigs instead of character specific wigs, but still be careful. Always go for a general wig instead of a character specific wig. It will save you a lot of money. 2, always make sure you have multiple characters or a character that you're super passionate about cosplaying for this week. As I mentioned, split dye wigs can be very character specific. Make sure you love this character and are considering cosplaying them on multiple different occasions. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money on one wig that you might wear once. Put this into your thought process when thinking of color and length. Now, certain wigs, such as maybe a Hatsune Miku wig, come with detachable elements. So you have a short blue wig with 2 long hair pieces. You can use that wig for multiple different characters with a similar hair color to Hatsune Miku. Same thing with a Junko wig. You've got a dusty pink wig. Do you know how many anime characters have dusty pink hair? Seriously. That is something that's really big with choosing wigs, and that's something that I wish I thought about when picking my own wigs. But make sure you have more than one character in mind if you are going to cosplay with a certain wig, especially if you are on a budget. But also put into perspective, do you really need a wig? I, again, do natural hair cosplays. If there is a character with long brown hair, I used to cosplay that character with long brown hair. In the last couple of months, I've exceedingly cosplayed more characters that have purple or blue hair. I'm starting to move more into blue-haired characters, so always keep that into account as well. If you're planning on dyeing your hair, is there a specific character that you want to cosplay with your dyed hair? Always think about the options that you have before you, in front of you, as well as the characters that you want to cosplay in the future. Tip number 4, we have character-specific accessories. This once again is in 2 parts. So you have the general items that you have wanted or needed for your cosplay. Now it is for character-specific objects. Now the first part is general character-specific objects, this being harnesses, this being vests, this being stuff that you can reuse for other cosplays. Now, I would suggest getting a certain few little extra bits, such as harnesses, such as vests, and such as cloaks. Again, I would suggest having these generic items that you use to bring or pull your cosplay together to make them recognizable. But make sure you are aware of what characters and what universes that you want to cosplay. For example, I have a bunch of different harnesses and I use that for my Hanji Zoe cosplay. I have this vest, I'm using it for Assassination Classroom. I have a random cape, a random cloak, and I used it for Raven. So always look around your room and look in your closet specifically if there's anything that can bring your cosplay together that you may not realize that you have. Secondly, is the purchasing of character-specific objects or series-specific objects. This being a specific school uniform jacket, like an Oran High School Host Club jacket, a uniform such as the My Hero Academia school uniform or sports uniform. It is fully okay to go out and buy some of these items, as it is insanely difficult for some of these series to make them yourselves or replicate them yourselves. Sometimes it's just easier to buy certain elements of your cosplay. Be this the Oran jacket, be this a Waluigi cap. Sometimes it's what you need to do. And who knows, sometimes when you buy this stuff, they come with extra items that you didn't realize you needed. My Oran jacket came with a tie. But this leads me on to my next point, which is for tip number 5, don't be ashamed of buying your cosplay. Now, this point touches on some current issues about fast fashion in the cosplay community, as well as the ethics on thrifting. Obviously, in the West, it is highly more critical to make your own cosplay or closet cosplay, or make your cosplays unique from the character, as well as looking canon. And that can put a lot of pressure onto a cosplayer. Absolutely do not feel pressured to make your cosplay, closet cosplay, buy your cosplay. But I do also want to talk about the high-speed cultivated crunch culture of TikTok that isn't even about crunching for conventions, it's about getting a new cosplay out there every single week. So as a beginner, for the love of God, do not feel pressured to follow TikTok trends. Especially when it comes to cosplaying a new character every single fucking week or getting into cosplay every single week. You absolutely do not need to debut a new character every week, and it's honestly better to put more effort into one cosplay than have 100 low effort cosplays, especially if you're going to cosplay that character more than once. It's always amazing to have a character that you cosplay multiple times instead of a character that you cosplay once. And it's okay to cosplay more than one character in a short amount of time, especially if you're just treading out the waters, seeing if you like the way you look as this character. I've done it myself in a couple of videos, and the only ones that particularly stick to me are Technoblade, Osana Najimi, but currently I can't really do Osana Najimi. And even in the future when my hair gets long again, I really want to re-cosplay Tomie because I fucking love that cosplay. Personally, with this whole culture of whenever there's a new fandom, everyone bandwagons on that and cosplays that, and it's super hype for like 2-3 weeks and then ditches their cosplay and their costume, it's concerning and wasteful as someone who is a cosplayer. And in terms of social media creators, it makes people like myself, or even worse, people who are actually on TikTok, fall behind in TikTok trends as they're not able to get these specific costumes. And it even puts a bad rap onto people who actually put a lot of work and effort into their cosplays. And that's not to say that buying your cosplays is evil and wrong, and then getting cosplays from popular fandoms is evil and wrong. Buying cosplays is not 100% awful. As I just mentioned in the point before, sometimes you need to buy certain items for certain cosplays because finding that item and changing it up or thrifting a certain item to try and give it new life is much more difficult than actually buying the simple item that you need that's right there. There is a lot of new websites now for cosplayers to get these items and get cosplay that they wouldn't have been able to get before unless they traveled hundreds of kilometers to fucking find. Cosplay is becoming a lot more accessible, but you need to be smart about it. Sure, getting that maid dress off of Amazon or off of AliExpress, completely fine. Everyone fucking buys a maid dress, and as I said, it's good to have gimmicky stuff in your wardrobe, but again, you need to be smart about it, especially with mass-produced cosplays from massive fandoms. For example, in overflowing fandoms such as Danganronpa, Love Live, Sailor Moon, and especially with the recent rise of Genshin Impact. Look at sites such as Depop, look at buy and sell groups on Facebook, and especially look at places like eBay, Gumtree, places like that. I would highly suggest Facebook Marketplace over anywhere else for buying cosplay. There is always people trying to resell their secondhand cosplays for these specific series and more series such as these specific series. It is the slightly more sustainable way of cosplaying, and in most cases you get a guaranteed taken care of piece of cosplay from a person who genuinely used to love the fandom that you are currently in, or someone who may still love the fandom but just outgrew the costume. And it's not just cosplays that are the outfit itself, it's props and wigs and costumes. And buying new stuff doesn't necessarily mean from big corporations. Buy stuff from people off of Etsy. There are people there who are willing to make the thing that you are looking for, the very specific prop that you're looking for, they're willing to make. And in most cases, it's by people who love the fandom that you love. And last of all, on this topic, I know this is gonna be very debated, but please go thrifting for certain cosplay items. This is genuinely a very sustainable method of getting items for cosplay. As I mentioned, get a sweater vest from a thrift shop. It is the easiest place to fucking find a sweater vest. Just find the color of beige or grey and I guarantee you one will be there, depending on what kind of thrift shop you have. And on top of all that, if you're planning on altering a piece, especially from a thrift shop, it feels a lot better giving new life to a second-hand object instead of buying something new and changing that up, because it just feels counterintuitive and feels kind of shit when you do that. At least if it's second-hand, you're giving it a new life. Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. With this point, you're looking between fast fashion and thrifting. Two possible moral dilemmas that you'll have when buying cosplay. You're gonna have to bite the bullet on one or the other. Personally, thrifting is good for placid objects. As I said, shirts, the school uniforms, etc, etc, etc. Buying specific cosplay props, such as an Oran jacket or a My Hero jacket, it's fine to buy those things. You don't need to be ashamed in buying those things. But when you're buying a school uniform that isn't niche whatsoever, and you're buying the whole uniform, shirt included, buying a sweater vest for this, it's better just to go thrifting for these things, as there are things in thrift stores that you will probably need. It's as simple as looking at a costume going, can I build that out of stuff that I find around my house? Can I get that from a thrift store? If not, go ahead, buy it, get it off cosplay stores. Absolutely do not feel guilty for doing that. It is your first time cosplaying. Don't feel guilty if you need to do that. But my advice to you is if you can find it in a thrift store, do not get it from a cosplay store. And absolutely do not feel pressured to cosplay something new every single week. And I'm not only saying that to people who do closet cosplays or do buying their own cosplays. There are secondhand fabrics at thrift stores that you can get that can be super helpful, especially if you're doing characters with like vintage patterns on their outfits. It's very useful to do that. Essentially, to conclude this point, don't be ashamed to buy cosplay. There are items and costumes that can't be replicated without a ton of skills that you need to build over time. But at the very least, look at your options. Point number 6 to natural hair cosplays. If you want to cosplay a myriad of characters, consider characters with your own hair color from series that you've watched and do like a little closet cosplay, or do cosplays with different outfits or colors that represent that character.
Shoot and stab all you want, class! Even with this handicap, I am too fast for you! Only in your dreams do you have any hope of getting the deed done! Oh.
Okay, this section is for sewing and people who are getting into sewing for cosplay. I personally am lucky enough to have been born into a family of seamstresses and sewing hobbyists in their own right. So as someone who has that kind of experience and has been sewing since roughly 2015, 2016, depending on what you are sewing, here are a few different tips for you. Number 1. Buy patterns off of Etsy. These will be patterns made by people who with the same passions of you. These will be cosplayers. These will be people who may have actually made YouTube videos showing you how to construct the garment that you are looking to make. Especially if you're going for something like a sailor outfit, you will get a long comprehensive guide in some cases of what you are sewing, suggestions of fabrics to use, suggestions of materials to use. You could be getting a guide alongside your pattern. At least in the past, that's what I've gotten from Etsy. And the best thing, if you're getting PDFs from Etsy, they are immediately sent to you. You get an immediate response. This is what you get. Print it off. You're good to go. Number 2 for sewing. YouTube is your best friend. If you're looking to upgrade your sewing abilities and want to sew something that you may not have sewn before, YouTube is 100% your best friend on that front, because I have learnt and relearned things that I didn't know before or that I hadn't understood before when it came to sewing. So 100% YouTube is your best friend, especially when you're beginning sewing.
Editing Brooklyn here. I'm editing this while recovering from my wisdom teeth being taken out. I'm really tired, so I'm stopping the cute placards. My face hurts.
Number 3. Now this one I probably should have said first, but I just didn't really think about it until now. For the absolute basics of what you're going to need if you are starting sewing is measuring tape, a ruler, fabric scissors, not regular scissors, fabric scissors. Scissors specifically made to cut fabric and nothing else, okay? This will help you when cutting fabric so you don't have any nicks or tears that are really unseemly. And a hot glue gun, a cosplayer's best friend. Now, for some of these items, they come in the little sewing kits that you can get from Kmart, Walmart, Target, you can get them from. You will need to go to a hobby-specific shop such as, say, Spotlight, for stuff like fabric scissors, pin cushions, and hot glue guns. 4. Now this one is a bit odd, but definitely keep your eyes on websites such as Humble Bundle, and keep your eyes on the big, award-winning cosplay creators, such as the first one that comes to mind is Cowbutt Crunchies. Cosplayers who do typically win awards, and even costumers make books. They make cosplay books. They make books specific to how to make certain things to put over your cosplay, how to make certain props, how to style your wig, how to do specific makeup. And this very much helps for people who want to follow along to a book and reading stuff. They all come with pictures, and I do specifically say follow or keep your eye on websites such as Humble Bundle, as especially if you do like gaming and stuff like that, they do have like deals where you can get games like half off and shit, but they also have this for books. And recently I was able to purchase 40 different ebooks of cosplay books that I have been looking at for literal months. But if you're looking to cosplay, finding books like this and finding deals for big packages of books like this is very, very helpful. Obviously, I say look at Humble Bundle, mainly because the promotion that they had for cosplay books specifically is now over. I would definitely at least take a look at Humble Bundle, as if you don't find something for cosplay, you may find something for something else, for some niche that you like on there. I'm not sponsored, I just think it's pretty cool. So yeah.
Need to make sure these get turned in.
Now this is more general, this is for makeup. For makeup, start with something you know. And this can be taken in two ways. The first way is makeup that you know. If you do use makeup, then use drugstore makeup. Like, use the makeup that you do have, but absolutely also use drugstore makeup, use brands that are drugstore brands, because you will hear a myriad of cosplayers, from professional cosplayers to like new cosplayers, all saying use drugstore makeup because it's cheap. And if you're like me and don't know what you're doing makeup wise, drugstore makeup is cheap and it's easy to put on your face, and you don't have super expensive makeup. And in a lot of cases it looks actually really good. Personally, the brands that I use is BYS and OXX, which both can be found in Kmart. And the second definition for makeup is play around with the makeup, especially if you're new like myself, into a niche that you might be more comfortable with, especially if you want to do something more stylized. Personally, I'm really comfortable with doing eye makeup. I'm not very good with lipstick. Like, the couple of cosplays I've done with lipstick, it's all over the place. I don't know where to get a good lip pencil because I always break mine. And especially, I'm not going to do something with lips and full face of makeup if you're only going to see my eyes for cosplay when I'm wearing a mask for cosplay. So absolutely play with what you want for cosplay and start with that and hone in your skills on that before anything else. Next is a big one that I know a lot of people are probably gonna ask, is how do you get yourself motivated for cosplay? Cosplay and getting into cosplay physically can be extremely tiring, especially if you're putting on a full face, full hair, a nice wig. Like, I've spent hours getting into cosplay, putting on makeup, putting on the full costume, putting on the wig, only to make like 20 minutes worth of TikToks. Motivation as a whole will wane when it comes to cosplaying, and my motivations will 100% be different to yours, but personally, with me and cosplaying, I find sitting down and doing videos, that's when I want to cosplay and want to push myself to doing more cosplay specifically. And honestly, yeah, it's not always the best, but at least I'm doing something that I love to do. I'm able to experiment with cosplays. What character will I do today? Or what character can I make out of my hair? What character do I want to put on with eye makeup? Etc, 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 etc. It's not always about a character or a specific series. It's always sort of, do I want to get in cosplay today? Is there a specific theme with this video where I should get into cosplay, or it'd be really cool to get into cosplay, or do I just want to do cosplay today? And if you are on TikTok, personally, when I was on TikTok, I had my sound list. I would take the sounds that I liked and put them on my notes app and write down the character that I think would be good for that sound, so that later when I do cosplay that character, I would use those sounds. I did this with Poison Ivy, I did this with my gender bent Kyoyo Otori, I did this with multiple times with Haruhi Fujioka. I really should cosplay Haruhi Fujioka on this channel. For how much I've talked about her, I've never actually cosplayed her on this channel properly. I've cosplayed her in my TikToks, in my TikTok videos, but I've never actually cosplayed her for a video, so maybe I'll do that next video. And for those wondering how I sit and cosplay for maybe one video, personally these recordings can be from 25 minutes to 2 hours long, so that's personally enough for me. And if I'm not going to a convention then and just sitting in my room, sitting down and filming a video and seeing if I just want to cosplay for it or if I could cosplay and it'd be a cool bit, then yeah, that's what motivates me. And personally, this is getting very personal here, when I started uploading regularly on this channel, it started with a cosplay video. It started with my Technoblade cosplay video where I was cosplaying Technoblade randomly while doing just a random Instagram video, right? And I was doing that because I had pulled an all-nighter and was getting really anxious and had like really anxious thoughts. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna cosplay. I don't know why I'm gonna cosplay. I've got this cool top that I really recently got. I have an idea which would be super cool for this cosplay. I'm just gonna get into cosplay. And I made a few TikToks complaining that I didn't have any sounds for Technoblade because I hadn't really been thinking that I was gonna cosplay Technoblade again, but I did. And so I sat down, filmed that Instagram video because it had been a video idea I'd had for a while and just sort of went, you know what, this one will do. And ever since then I've been uploading regularly on this channel and it's been a good thing for me, honestly. And obviously not every video I'm in cosplay. I try to do cosplay as much as I can, but it does get to me. It is a very tiring hobby, but sometimes you just need to find what's good for you. For me, if I'm in a bad place, sometimes cosplay will help. Sometimes it's I just want to sit down and record a video and put on some makeup and do my hair all weird. And trust me, from my waist up, this is all cosplay. Waist down is all comfy clothes. If you're appearing on camera, you don't need to be in full cosplay, trust me. Sometimes just getting into half cosplay that you guys only see is good enough for me. But seriously, when it comes to motivation, sometimes it's just a kick in the ass that needs to happen. Sometimes maybe it's asking advice from a friend and some encouragement from them. The first time I ever cosplayed Technoblade, I was in a really bad place and I just mentioned to a friend, I'm kind of considering cosplaying Technoblade, and they were like, absolutely, you should do it, that'd be so cool. And it gave me the influence that I needed to cosplay Technoblade. It was a little bit weird, I will say that, but I did it and it felt good to do. And that, on extension, helped me further push the content that I wanted to make for this channel. So you never know where a little push will get ya. Well, I've been talking a lot. This has been my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video in some form. I hope you got some information from this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of this video, and I hope to see you guys next time. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm really trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. It would be so awesome to hit 1,000 subscribers, but I cannot do that without your help. If you do not want to, do not feel pressured to. And I hope you have an amazing day, night, afternoon, weekend. Keep saying fucking weekend. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!